Take a moment to look around you. In this vast world of over 8 billion people, how many do you believe are truly more capable than you? The answer might surprise you. Far fewer than you imagine. You see, the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who don't often comes down to one simple truth. Successful people have learned to act as if no one is better than them. Now, let me be clear, this isn't about arrogance or superiority, it's about understanding your inherent worth and potential. Every single day, ordinary people, just like you, are achieving extraordinary things, not because they possess some magical quality, but because they've mastered the art of believing in themselves. Consider this: Thomas Edison wasn't born with a special genius gene. He simply refused to accept that anyone else could solve problems better than he could. When he worked on the light bulb, he didn't worry about whether someone else might beat him to it. He acted as if success was inevitable, and through 1,000 failed attempts, he maintained that unwavering belief. The human mind is remarkable in its ability to manifest what we deeply believe. When you walk into a room acting as if you belong there, something extraordinary happens. Your posture changes. Your voice carries more authority. Your ideas flow more freely. This isn't magic, it's the natural result of aligning your actions with your potential. Let me share a story that illustrates this principle perfectly. Years ago, I knew a young woman who worked in the mailroom of a large corporation. While others saw their position as a dead-end job, she acted as if she was the CEO's most valuable asset. She treated every interaction, every task, every challenge as if she was the most capable person to handle it. Within 3 years, she was managing the entire operations department. Why? Because she refused to accept the artificial limitations others placed on her position. You see, most people live their lives in the shadow of imaginary giants. They look at others' success and think, they must have something I don't. But here's the truth: success leaves clues, and the most obvious clue is that successful people act as if success is their natural state. Think about this: every major achievement in human history was accomplished by someone who refused to believe others were better equipped for the task. The Wright brothers weren't the wealthiest or most educated inventors of their time, but they acted as if they could solve the puzzle of human flight, and they did. Henry Ford didn't have the most resources or the finest education, but he acted as if he could revolutionize transportation, and he did. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is, when will you start acting as if you do? Let me share with you the 3 fundamental principles that underpin this philosophy. First, understand that your current position is not your final destination. Every expert was once a beginner. Every leader was once a follower. The only difference is that they acted as if their current situation was temporary, a stepping stone to something greater. Second, recognize that expertise is built, not born. When you encounter someone more skilled than you, don't shrink, study. Act as if you're capable of learning anything, because you are. The human brain's capacity for growth is virtually limitless. The only real ceiling is the one you place on yourself. Third, and perhaps most importantly, understand that confidence is a skill, not a personality trait. Just as a musician practices scales or an athlete practices fundamentals, you can practice acting as if you're capable of greatness. Start small if you must, but start. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with a successful businessman who started with nothing. He told me, "Earl, when I started my first business, I had $100 to my name. But every morning, I put on my only suit, walked into that tiny one-room office, and acted as if I was running a Fortune 500 company. I made every decision, handled every call, wrote every letter as if I was leading a billion-dollar enterprise. Eventually, reality caught up with my actions." This is the power of acting as if. Your mind doesn't ultimately distinguish between what's real and what you consistently tell it is real. This isn't about pretending or fabricating. It's about aligning your actions with your potential rather than your current circumstances. Consider how often you've limited yourself by thinking, "That's not for people like me," or "I'm not ready for that yet." These thoughts are nothing but self-imposed prison bars. The truth is, there's no such thing as people like me or people like them. There are only people who act as if they can and people who act as if they can't. Let me share another profound truth. The most successful people in any field aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who act as if every opportunity is meant for them. They're the ones who act as if every challenge is surmountable. They're the ones who act as if failure is nothing more than feedback. Think about the last time you held back in a meeting, hesitated to apply for a position, or stopped yourself from pursuing a dream. Now imagine how different those situations might have been if you had acted as if you were the most qualified person in the room. Not out of arrogance, but out of a deep understanding of your potential. The beauty of this principle is that it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you act as if you're capable, you take actions that capable people take. When you act as if you're resourceful, you find resources you never knew existed. When you act as if you're unstoppable, you develop the persistence that success requires. I've observed thousands of successful people throughout my career, and I've noticed a common thread. They all act as if their success is inevitable. Not with bravado or false confidence, but with a quiet certainty that comes from understanding this fundamental truth. No one is inherently better than you at being you. Consider this: every person you admire, every success story you've heard, every achievement that inspires you, all of these began with someone who acted as if they could do something extraordinary. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for validation. They didn't wait for someone to tell them they were ready. Let me give you a practical exercise. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I want you to act as if you're already the person you want to become. If you want to be a leader, make decisions like a leader. If you want to be an expert, study like an expert. If you want to be successful, work with the dedication of someone who's already successful. The world responds to certainty. When you act as if you're capable, people treat you as capable. When you act as if you're valuable, people value your contributions. When you act as if you're successful, opportunities for success seem to multiply. Remember, this isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about aligning your actions with your potential rather than your fears. It's about operating from a place of possibility rather than limitation. It's about understanding that the only person who needs to believe in your potential is you. I've seen this principle transform lives time and time again. I've watched people step into their power simply by deciding to act as if they already possessed it. I've seen careers accelerate, relationships flourish, and dreams materialize when people embrace this simple but profound truth. The world is full of people waiting for permission to be extraordinary. They're waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, "It's your turn now." But here's the reality: that tap on the shoulder never comes. Success doesn't ask for permission. It responds to action. Think about the goals you've set for yourself. Are you acting as if achieving them is inevitable? Are you making decisions today that align with where you want to be tomorrow? Are you treating your dreams as if they're already in the process of becoming reality? The gap between where you are and where you want to be is often nothing more than the difference between how you're acting now and how you would act if you were already there. This isn't about fake it till you make it. It's about becoming it while you make it. Let me share something powerful with you. The moment you start acting as if no one is better than you, something remarkable happens. Your fears begin to lose their grip. Your excuses begin to sound hollow. Your limitations begin to feel temporary. This is because you're finally aligning yourself with a fundamental truth, that your potential is limited only by your willingness to act on it. Consider what happens in nature. A small acorn doesn't wait to become mighty. It begins growing immediately, acting as if it's already the oak tree it's destined to become. It doesn't question its potential or compare itself to the fully grown trees around it. It simply acts according to its nature, and in time it becomes what it was always meant to be. You see, life has a peculiar way of meeting our expectations. When you act as if you're destined for greatness, life has a way of rising to meet that expectation. It's not about hoping or wishing, it's about aligning your actions with your highest potential. Let me tell you about a remarkable experiment conducted with a group of hotel housekeepers. These individuals spent their days doing physical work, cleaning rooms, making beds, pushing carts. When researchers told half the group that their daily work qualified as excellent exercise that would improve their health, something fascinating happened. This group, simply by believing their work was beneficial exercise, showed significant health improvements over the other group: lower blood pressure, reduced weight, improved body mass index. Nothing changed except their perception and the way they acted upon that perception. This illustrates a profound truth. Your reality often conforms to how you act. When you act as if your work matters, it matters more. When you act as if you're making progress, you progress faster. When you act as if you're becoming your best self, you accelerate that becoming. I've observed that most people operate at about 50% of their actual capacity. They hold themselves back not because of external limitations, but because of internal doubts. They act as if they're limited, and therefore they become limited. But what happens when you flip that script? What happens when you act as if you're capable of twice as much? Let me share another story that perfectly illustrates this principle. Years ago, I met a man who had lost everything in a business failure. He was broke, living in a tiny apartment, and starting over from scratch. But here's what made him remarkable: he acted as if his comeback was inevitable. He dressed each day in his best clothes, maintained his professional networks, and conducted himself as if he was still a successful businessman. Within 18 months, he had built a business twice as successful as his previous one. Why? Because he refused to act like a failure, even when circumstances suggested he was one. This brings us to an important distinction. Acting as if no one is better than you doesn't mean acting as if you're better than others. It means acting as if you're capable of rising to any challenge, learning any skill, and achieving any goal you set for yourself. It's about equality of potential, not superiority of position. Think about the most successful people you know. What sets them apart isn't necessarily their intelligence, their education, or their background. What sets them apart is their willingness to act as if success is natural, as if challenges are opportunities, as if setbacks are temporary. They act as if they belong in any room they enter, as if their ideas deserve to be heard, as if their contributions matter. Here's a powerful truth. Every person you admire started exactly where you are, as someone who had to decide to act as if they could become more than they were. Every successful author had to act as if they could write before they wrote their first book. Every successful entrepreneur had to act as if they could build a business before they made their first sale. Every successful leader had to act as if they could lead before anyone chose to follow them. The beauty of this principle is that it's available to everyone, regardless of their current circumstances. You don't need special permissions, unique talents, or extraordinary resources. You just need to make a decision to act as if your potential is unlimited, as if your dreams are achievable, as if your goals are within reach. Consider how this principle applies to learning and growth. When you encounter something new or challenging, do you act as if you're capable of mastering it, or do you act as if it's beyond your abilities? The difference in these approaches will determine not just your immediate success, but your long-term growth trajectory. I've noticed that people who achieve remarkable things share a common trait. They act as if learning is natural and challenges are normal. They don't expect success to be easy, but they expect themselves to be capable of handling whatever comes their way. This expectation shapes their actions, which in turn shapes their results. Let me share a practical application of this principle. When you're in a meeting, act as if your ideas are valuable, because they are. When you're facing a challenge, act as if you'll find a solution, because you will. When you're pursuing a goal, act as if success is inevitable, because with the right actions it is. This isn't about positive thinking alone, it's about positive acting. It's about aligning your behaviors with your potential rather than your fears. It's about making decisions based on where you want to go, not where you've been. Remember this: every person who has ever achieved anything significant had moments of doubt, moments of uncertainty, moments when they wondered if they were good enough. The difference is that they acted as if they were good enough until they became good enough. Consider the impact of this principle on your daily interactions. When you act as if you're valuable, people treat you as valuable. When you act as if your time matters, people respect your time. When you act as if your work is important, the quality of your work improves. These aren't coincidences, they're natural consequences of aligned action. Let me share another powerful insight. The way you act in small moments shapes the way you'll act in big moments. If you act as if you're capable in daily tasks, you'll be more likely to act capable when major opportunities arise. If you act as if your ideas matter in casual conversations, you'll be more likely to share them in important meetings. This principle extends to how you handle setbacks and failures. Successful people don't act as if failure is final, they act as if it's feedback. They don't act as if setbacks are permanent, they act as if they're temporary. They don't act as if challenges are obstacles, they act as if they're opportunities. Think about the last time you faced a significant setback. How might the outcome have been different if you had acted as if that setback was the setup for a comeback? How might your response have changed if you had acted as if this challenge was precisely what you needed to grow stronger? The power of acting as if no one is better than you lies in its ability to transform your relationship with possibility. When you act as if anything is possible, you start noticing opportunities that were always there but previously invisible to you. You start taking actions that were always available but previously seemed out of reach. Every day you make thousands of tiny decisions about how to act, how to respond, how to present yourself to the world. Each of these decisions is shaped by your beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. When you act as if no one is better than you, these thousands of tiny decisions begin to align with your highest potential rather than your deepest fears. Consider the impact of compound interest in finance. A small percentage difference in return, compounded over time, can create enormous differences in results. The same principle applies to your daily actions. Small differences in how you act, compounded over time, create enormous differences in your life's trajectory. I once observed a fascinating experiment in a corporate setting. Two employees started on the same day with similar qualifications and responsibilities. One acted as if they were just another employee, while the other acted as if they were crucial to the company's success. Within 6 months, the difference in their progress was striking. The second employee had been given more responsibilities, included in more important meetings, and was already being considered for promotion. Nothing separated these two individuals except how they chose to act. This brings us to an important point about authenticity. Some people misunderstand the principle of acting as if no one is better than you. They think it means pretending to be something you're not, but that's not it at all. True authenticity comes from acting in alignment with your potential rather than your fears. It's about being true to who you can become, not who you've been told you are. Let me share a powerful truth that many never grasp. Your capabilities are not fixed. They expand or contract based on how you act. When you act as if you can learn anything, your capacity for learning expands. When you act as if you can solve any problem, your problem-solving abilities grow. When you act as if you can achieve any goal, your achievement capacity increases. Think about a time when you exceeded your own expectations. Perhaps it was during a crisis, or when someone was depending on you, or when failure simply wasn't an option. In those moments, you acted as if you were capable of more, and you were. Those moments weren't exceptions, they were glimpses of your true potential. Here's something remarkable about human psychology. Your mind can't tell the difference between acting as if something is true and it actually being true. When you act as if you're confident, your body produces the same chemicals it produces when you're naturally confident. When you act as if you're capable, your brain engages in the same way it does when you're operating from genuine capability. Let me give you a practical example. Studies have shown that people who act as if they're extroverted, even if they're naturally introverted, experience many of the same benefits that natural extroverts do: increased energy, better social connections, more opportunities. This isn't about changing who you are, it's about expanding what you're capable of. Consider the impact of this principle on leadership. The best leaders don't wait until they feel ready to lead. They act as if they're ready, and through that action they become ready. They don't wait until they have all the answers. They act as if they can find the answers, and through that action, they develop the resourcefulness to do so. I've observed that most people's limitations are self-imposed. They act as if they can only handle so much responsibility, only learn so quickly, only achieve so much. But what happens when you remove these artificial limitations? What happens when you act as if your potential is unlimited? Let me share another story that illustrates this principle perfectly. I knew a young entrepreneur who started his business in his garage. He had no employees, no office, and very little capital. But from day one, he acted as if his company was a major player in his industry. He wrote his emails as if he was leading a significant organization. He approached potential clients as if he could deliver world-class results. He made decisions as if he was building a legacy. Within 3 years, his company had grown to match his actions. Why? Because he never waited for success to change how he acted. He changed how he acted first, and success followed. This brings us to an important distinction about competition. When you act as if no one is better than you, you stop competing with others and start competing with your potential. You stop asking, am I better than them? And start asking, am I better than I was yesterday? This shift in focus changes everything. Consider how this principle applies to learning. When you act as if you can master any subject, you approach learning differently. Instead of thinking, this is too difficult, you think, I haven't figured this out yet. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, you say, I'm getting better at this. The difference in these approaches is profound. Let me share something about success that few people understand. Success is not a destination, it's a way of operating. When you act as if you're already successful, making decisions carefully, treating people respectfully, maintaining high standards, you naturally create the conditions for success. You think about the last time you held yourself back. Perhaps you didn't speak up in a meeting, or didn't apply for a position, or didn't pursue an opportunity. Now imagine how different your life might be if you had acted as if you were fully capable in those moments. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is often nothing more than the gap between how you're acting and how you could act. Here's another powerful insight. The way you act creates ripples that extend far beyond you. When you act as if you're capable of greatness, you give others permission to do the same. When you act as if your dreams are achievable, you inspire others to pursue their dreams. When you act as if no one is better than you, you help others recognize their own worth. Consider the impact of this principle on problem solving. When you act as if every problem has a solution, you approach challenges differently. Instead of asking, can this be solved, you ask, how can this be solved? Instead of wondering if you can handle it, you start figuring out how you'll handle it. Let me share something about confidence that many people misunderstand. True confidence isn't the belief that you'll succeed. It's the belief that you can handle whatever happens. When you act as if you can handle any outcome, you free yourself to take the actions that lead to success. Think about the most significant challenges you're facing right now. How would you approach them differently if you acted as if you were perfectly capable of handling them? How would your actions change if you acted as if success was inevitable? Remember this fundamental truth. Every person who has ever achieved anything remarkable started by acting as if they could. They didn't wait for circumstances to be perfect, for all doubts to disappear, or for everyone to believe in them. They simply began acting in alignment with their aspirations rather than their limitations. Let me share something profound about human achievement that I've observed over decades of studying success. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't talent, education, or luck. It's their willingness to act as if their success is inevitable, even when evidence suggests otherwise. Consider the power of your daily habits. When you act as if you're a professional, you develop professional habits. When you act as if you're successful, you develop successful habits. When you act as if you're unstoppable, you develop unstoppable habits. These habits, over time, transform who you are and what you're capable of achieving. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with a world-class athlete. He told me, Earl, before I won any championships, I trained like a champion. Before I broke any records, I prepared like a record breaker. Before I achieved anything significant, I acted as if achievement was inevitable. This principle applies not just to athletics, but to every field of human endeavor. Think about the role of persistence in success. When you act as if giving up isn't an option, you find ways to continue that you never knew existed. When you act as if obstacles are temporary, you develop the resilience to overcome them. When you act as if setbacks are setups for comebacks, you transform challenges into opportunities. Here's something crucial about personal growth. Growth happens in the gap between who you are and who you act as if you can become. When you consistently act as if you're capable of more, you stretch yourself into new possibilities. You develop new capabilities. You discover new strengths. Consider how this principle applies to innovation. Every major breakthrough in human history came from someone who acted as if the impossible was possible. They acted as if conventional wisdom could be challenged. They acted as if boundaries could be pushed. They acted as if limits could be exceeded. Let me share one final story that encapsulates everything we've discussed. I once met a woman who started her career as a janitor in a large corporation. But from day one, she acted as if her current position was temporary. She acted as if every interaction was an opportunity to learn. She acted as if every task, no matter how small, was a chance to demonstrate excellence. Within 5 years, she had risen to management. Within 10 years, she was a senior executive. When I asked her about her remarkable journey, she said something I'll never forget. I never waited for my position to determine my behavior. I let my behavior determine my position. This brings us to the heart of what it means to act as if no one is better than you. It's not about comparison or competition. It's about living up to your own potential. It's about refusing to let artificial limitations determine your actions. It's about aligning your behavior with your capabilities rather than your fears. Think about the dreams you hold in your heart, the goals you've set for yourself, the aspirations that keep you awake at night. Now ask yourself, are you acting as if these dreams are achievable? Are you acting as if these goals are within reach? Are you acting as if these aspirations are your destiny? The truth is, you don't need permission to act as if you're capable of greatness. You don't need validation to act as if your dreams are achievable. You don't need approval to act as if your potential is unlimited. You just need to make a decision to align your actions with your highest possibilities rather than your deepest fears. As we conclude our time together, I want to leave you with this powerful truth. The person you become tomorrow is determined by how you act today. Every action you take, every decision you make, every response you choose is either moving you toward or away from your potential. The choice is yours. You can act as if your current circumstances define you, or you can act as if your potential defines you. You can act as if your past limits you, or you can act as if your future beckons you. You can act as if others are better than you, or you can act as if no one is better than you at being you. Remember, success is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the fullest, most capable version of yourself. It's about acting in alignment with your potential until your reality catches up with your actions. So starting right now in this moment, make a decision. Decide to act as if your potential is unlimited. Decide to act as if your dreams are achievable. Decide to act as if success is inevitable. Because when you act as if no one is better than you tap into a power that can transform your life, impact others, and leave a lasting legacy in this world. The future belongs to those who act as if they can create it. The opportunities belong to those who act as if they deserve them. The success belongs to those who act as if they can achieve it. Your time is now. Your potential is waiting. Your future is calling. Act as if no one is better than you, and watch as your reality rises to meet your actions. Thank you, and remember, the way you act today shapes the person you'll be tomorrow. Make those actions count.